Hello everyone, Adrienne here. So welcome to part 2 of my Absinthe cocktail series. So this is super exciting. I have decided to officially make this a series, so if you have any recommendations or suggestions for absinthe cocktails that you would like to see featured here in this series eventually, let me know. Depending on what it is, I'll be more than happy to include them. Anything with Red Bull and absinthe, I will immediately veto. Keep that in mind. So before we get started today, I wanted to make a really exciting announcement. So pumped. So at the beginning of the year, I went to this show in Seattle called Bohemia. I'm sure you guys probably remember me talking about it in my review of Double Balance. And because of its splashing success in Seattle, it is making its European debut in Berlin, Germany on October 14th and 15th. So exciting. I still can't believe it's happening, and I'm really excited about this, and I've now become friends with the mastermind behind the project, Mark Ciano. He's a really great guy. I love hanging out with him and talking about absinthe and opera and other things that we have in common. I recently went to his show Titanish in mid-July, and it was fantastic. Great show. I went with my friend Danny, and we absolutely loved it. It was amazing. Anyway, Bohemia is wonderful, and if you're near or in the area of Berlin around that time, you definitely need to go see it. I will leave a link for Bohemia's Facebook page and Instagram page in the description below so that you can follow them for more updates and see some absolutely stunning shots of the production. So it's about the composer Dvorak, frustrated and struggling to find inspiration for his next great work, and after a night of drinking absinthe, he is visited in his dreams by the ghost of Chopin and many green fairies. It's elegant, artistic, beautiful, sexy, and it's also absolutely hilarious. If you love classical music and absinthe and the Belle Époque, you are going to love this. Plus, Mark has an incredible baritone voice that will absolutely make you melt. That, in and of itself, is a selling point. So I was invited to come along with the production, and as much as I'd love a chance to see it again in the near future, especially on European soil, unfortunately I have another commitment around that same time for flying to LA to record my first original song, so I'm super heartbroken that I can't make it. So please, go enjoy it on my behalf, and feel free to get in touch with me and Mark after the fact to tell us how much you loved it. This is a production I believe in, so I really want to support and promote it as much as I can. It would mean the world to me if you saw the show. So now that we have that out of the way, on to today's video. For all 3 of these fairly modern absinthe cocktails, I will be using Jade Esprit Étoile, which is 72% alcohol. This is going to be fun. And speaking of the Jades, I will be interviewing the owner of Jade Liquors, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Ted Bro, sometime in August. So it's going to be around mid-August. It will come out a little bit after that point because obviously you need to go in and edit the footage and everything. But an interview will be taking place, and I'm so excited to have Ted Bro on my channel and to talk about absinthe. It's going to be amazing. And if you guys have any questions that you would like me to ask him during the interview, feel free to leave those in the comments below as well. I will take them into consideration and see what's up. And now on to the first cocktail, the Death in the Afternoon. The Death in the Afternoon cocktail was invented by writer Ernest Hemingway, named after his 1932 story of the same name, and the recipe was published in a cocktail recipe book in 1935. The instructions he gives for this cocktail is as follows. Pour 1 jigger absinthe into a champagne glass, add iced champagne until it attains the proper opalescent milkiness. Drink 3 to 5 of these slowly. So I don't know about 3 to 5 of those. I would have to drink those very slowly. But that's just me. So if you are a champagne lover, absinthe lover, or a combination of the two, I think you will really love this. I have to give some serious props to my husband. He is not a fan of dry champagne, and, you know, there's a reason why I call him Mr. Sweet Tooth. And he also isn't too fond of absinthe, but he does like certain brands, so it's not like he hates it entirely. But for our first toast as a married couple at our wedding, he had one with me so that we could be super cute having matching drinks at our wedding, because he wanted to make his wife happy, you know. Happy wife, happy life. We served Jade Nouvelle Orleans at our wedding because it's the one that we drank the night we got engaged, and we served it both in the traditional French drip method as well as a death in the afternoon for our wedding guests, and it was surprisingly popular. I think there was about half of the bottle left by the time the wedding festivities were over. So obviously you're not going to be consuming it in the same way that you would be consuming like a bottle of wine or anything like that. So each serving was about this much, you know, gone from the bottle. So the fact that there was like half of it left after everything had transpired, it shows us how popular it was. Even my dad tried it, and that was kind of surprising. But anyway, so now I will show you how to make it, and it is super simple, but I will warn you, it is very potent. Alright guys, so now comes the time to make a death in the afternoon cocktail. Super excited. And for the champagne today, I unfortunately could not find any French champagne that was within my budget, so I went with a Chateau Saint Michel champagne. So this is a Washingtonian champagne. I believe the winery that this is made at is on the western side of Washington, but I could be wrong. I haven't been there since I was a very, very small child. My parents often went to like concerts and events there when I was really little, so I do have fond memories of going to this winery when I was a kid, so I thought it would be really special to include it in this video for the Death in the Afternoon. Also, I apologize if you hear any background noise that sounds like a fan. Yes, it is indeed a fan. It got a little toasty in here, and I just wanted to stay a little cool as long as I was looking fantastic and elegant. So yeah, I will suffer just a little bit for the sake of my aesthetic. Just a little bit. And I definitely don't do the whole, like, pop the cork so that it flies across the room thing, and I definitely will not do it with a sword like the dad guy, Champère in Emily in Paris. Definitely not gonna do that. As cool as it is, I'm not doing it. So I like to use the towel method. It's the easiest way to do this, and I don't trust myself to pop it across the room, so whenever there's a bottle that is corked like this, my husband always delegates the task of opening it to me, so that's fun. Oh, I haven't had the champagne in forever, but I'm so happy to have it now. Alright, so now we're going to be pouring about a jigger's worth of Jade Liquors into our champagne flute. And if you haven't seen my review of Jade Liquors, gorgeous color. It's so beautiful. It's just like a really lovely golden olive. The glass is a little murky, so that's why it's not looking as crystal clear as it typically would. Terribly sorry about that. And now I'm going to be topping it off with champagne. Super easy. It's funny, one of the most popular TikToks that you see of the Death in the Afternoon cocktail shows a guy with a very impressive mustache making this drink. And he's very obviously using a faux absinthe to make it because it doesn't cloud up like this. That's how you can tell. It was just literally, it looked like it was just very weakly colored vodka that may or may not have been flavored with anise. And remember, just because it's green and tastes like anise or black licorice, it does not mean it's absinthe. If it doesn't do this when champagne or water is added, it is not absinthe. So here is your completed Death in the Afternoon. It looks beautiful and opalescent, and even Ernest Hemingway knew when it was ready. So, oh god, just the dry champagne and the Edouard together just makes such a lovely combination. Just so good. I'm excited to try it with the Saint Michel champagne here. So, santé, and please drink responsibly, especially when you are having 3 cocktails in one day. Oh gosh, that's so lovely, especially with the Edouard. This is my first time having it with the Edouard, by the way, so... Oh gosh, just beautiful color, lovely flavor, and the absinthe plays very nicely with the champagne. It's just so lovely. Like I said, if you're a fan of champagne or a fan of absinthe, I think you really can't go wrong with this. And one of the cool things about the Death in the Afternoon here is that the essential oils that are present in absinthe will actually kill a lot of the carbonation in your champagne. So whatever champagne you may be using, if you start the process with absinthe and then, you know, top it off with champagne like you do, the bubbles will somewhat disappear. They're not entirely gone in my glass here, but it'll probably take a little while. But yeah, the essential oils in absinthe will kill some of the carbonation. It's pretty nice. It's so funny, the first time I had a Death in the Afternoon when I was still living with my parents, my mom didn't know very much about absinthe, but, you know, she'd be curious anytime I'd make, like, an absinthe cocktail or something. And when I told her about the Death in the Afternoon and showed it to her, and it did this, she was looking at it and she's like, why is it cloudy? Why are the bubbles gone? And I'm just like, yeah, that's because there are essential oils in absinthe, and that's why the bubbles disappeared. Now that I have shown you the Death in the Afternoon, I will now take a moment to take some very beautiful, aesthetically pleasing pictures of the Death in the Afternoon here with their respective ingredients. And I'll finish this cocktail, and I will film the next one, which is the Necromancer. And the next cocktail we're going to be making today is the Necromancer, which I'm super, super excited about because it's one of my absolute favorites. So, it was invented by a very talented New York mixologist named Mayur Subarao shortly after the absinthe ban was lifted in 2007. It was his unique reinterpretation of the classic Corpse Reviver No. 2 cocktail, which, if you aren't familiar with it, I made it in my previous absinthe cocktail video if you want to check it out. Instead of letting absinthe be present in just a rinse in the glass, he decided to make it more prominent, back off on the gin, and swap out the orange liqueur with elderflower liqueur. So the result is a very, oh god, it's so hard to describe, and it's really difficult to kind of pinpoint what it's going to be like until you actually have it, which I highly encourage you to do. It's just so herbal and citrusy and floral, and it's such a lovely flavor profile. It's beautifully balanced, and it's shockingly easy to drink. So if you are planning on making this cocktail, I have a little word of advice. I recommend using a higher proof absinthe to make this. Somewhere between 63% to 72% would be ideal. The reason I say this is that if you're sensitive to textures, aftertastes, and consistencies, you might find the syrupy aftertaste or the texture of the elderflower liqueur to be a bit more prominent and off-putting if you use a lower proof absinthe. I say this because I've experimented quite extensively with this drink, using my husband as a guinea pig, and he is picky as fuck. Quite. So, he likes the flavor of Saint-Germain, but not the texture. Again, he doesn't like absinthe very much, so the fact that he enjoys a cocktail where the absinthe is more prominent tells you how good it is, and using a higher proof absinthe really, really helps. I find that the syrupy consistency slash aftertaste slash like texture of the Saint-Germain disappears with the higher the proof of absinthe that you use, so just keep that in mind. And that's another reason why I chose the Esprit Edouard for today's video, is because it is 72% alcohol. So higher the proof of the absinthe that you use for this, the better. You're going to need 3/4 of an ounce each of lemon juice, Saint-Germain, absinthe, and Lillet Blanc, and a dash of gin, garnishing with a lemon peel. So let's go ahead and get started on making it. Alright guys, so now we are going to make the Necromancer, which is probably my favorite of the cocktails we're going to be making today. Super exciting. So I'm going to grab some fresh ice and everything here that I need so that we can get started. So you guys may notice I may not have my cocktail glass at the ready right this second, but that is intentional. It is because I have the glass currently chilling in the freezer until I am ready to pour the cocktail. So first things first, because citrus is a little tricky to deal with, and making sure that everything is good to go and takes the longest out of all of these boozes to prepare. Starting with the lemon juice. Okay, fresh lemon juice, here we go. So again, this is 3/4 of an ounce each of Saint-Germain absinthe, Lillet Blanc, lemon juice. Anyone else think that the bottles for Saint-Germain are just gorgeous? I think they're so pretty. Of course, a siren to ruin the atmosphere. That's okay. I'm rolling with it. We are having an Absinthe Girl summer here. And then using the Lillet Blanc. Lillet Blanc is just really lovely. Like, it's a French white aperitif. It's so good. I really really enjoy it. Such a good cocktail ingredient. And then a little dash of gin. Oh, such a really interesting scent in comparison to the other cocktails that I have featured here so far. So now I'm taking my lemon peel, which we're going to be using for garnish, and giving it a nice little twist so that it looks lovely on our cocktail. And I have one of my very trusty cocktail picks here. I just stabbed myself with it. That's okay. And look how pretty that looks. And it's so easy to rest that on the inside of the glass without it being drenched in the cocktail itself. So now I'm going to grab my coupe glass that I'm going to be pouring this into from the freezer, and we're going to pour and serve. Okay, so now we have our cocktail ready to pour. Oh gosh, it smells so lovely. Super excited for this one. And then finishing it off with our lovely lemon garnish. And here we are, we have the Necromancer cocktail, which is a modern reinterpretation of the Corpse Reviver No. 2. It has a lot of the same ingredients, but definitely a slightly different flavor profile, which is totally fine. And as always, santé, and please drink responsibly. Oh gosh. Oh, that is so lovely. This is such a really good, like, spring and summery kind of cocktail, which is totally fine because I definitely wanted this cocktail video to be a little bit more summer-centric, if that makes sense. And just the lemon juice and the Lillet Blanc and the Saint-Germain and the absinthe playing so well together just really complement each other so well. And the fact that absinthe is a little bit more present in this, even still, it's just so palatable. And even for someone like my husband who does not like absinthe, with this being so forward on the absinthe, even he loves it. And I'm not going to call him over to give it a try and tell you guys what he thinks, but I do know for a fact this is one of his favorite absinthe cocktails that I have made for him in the past. Oh, that is so beautiful. So fresh and citrusy and floral and herbal. Those flavors just play so well off of each other, and then there's just a little edge of gin to kind of balance out the sweetness and the citrusy flavors. Oh god, it's so lovely. So lovely. Alright, so I'm going to enjoy the rest of this cocktail by myself, and I'm going to take some pretty pictures again. And then after that we are going to move on to the Sangermaniac. So stay tuned for that. Alright, so the third and final cocktail that we are making today is the Sangermaniac. First of all, the name is super fun. I think it's great. It's a really nice kind of like joke and play on words there. So I found this one because I have been searching high and low for more cocktails that combine absinthe and Saint-Germain because the Necromancer really got me hooked on that combination because they play together so gorgeously. So I decided to thumb through Ted Bro's book, Absinthe, the Exquisite Elixir, and in the section featuring modern classics for cocktails, I stumbled upon the Sangermaniac. It was created by Ted Bro, who also made Jade Liquors here that I'm using in my video today. And this cocktail is super simple. It is 1/4 of an ounce of absinthe and 1 1/4 ounce of Saint-Germain, 7 dashes of Angostura bitters, but you can add more or less depending on your taste, of course, and topped with ginger ale, garnished with an orange peel. And because this has Saint-Germain and ginger ale, my husband Kenny absolutely loves it. So let's go ahead and get started on making that one. Alright guys, so the last cocktail we're going to make is the Sangermaniac, and it is just 3 ingredients. I guess 4, if you count the bitters. So there's that. So it's going to be Angostura bitters, absinthe, Saint-Germain, and ginger ale. So super easy. And even if you're someone who's not a big fan of absinthe, but you really like ginger ale and you really like Saint-Germain, I think you'll really, really like this one. You can probably tell how, like, drunk or tipsy I am. So I'm definitely looking forward to finishing this video, and once I sober up a little bit, I can edit it at least a little bit. So there's that. Alright, so I'm going to get some fresh ice into this little cocktail mixing glass, and we can get started with making this. Okay, so first I'm going to be adding the absinthe. It is a 1/4 ounce of absinthe. In this case we're using... Okay, that's a little bit of an overpour. I kind of poured it to 1/2 ounce, but that's okay. I'm going to roll with it. And then we're going to use 1 ounce and 1/4 ounce of Saint-Germain. Since my husband is no longer busy with what he was doing before, he might come in for a little taste, which is really nice. Then we add the bitters. Super fun. I personally think that was a little bit too much Angostura bitters for this one, but that's okay. Oof. Try not to make a splash everywhere, Adrienne, come on. Okay, so this cocktail is looking very, like, amber looking and very lovely. And now I am taking care to prepare the garnish, which is an orange peel. Super easy. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I smell like an orange peel garnish on something, I just have to stick it up near my nose and just really get a good whiff of it because it's just so lovely. Pouring that into our cocktail glass. Lovely. And now we are topping with ginger ale. If there's one thing that Kenny loves, it is ginger ale and Saint-Germain. So topping with a little bit of ginger ale. And then finishing with our garnish. Try not to take the little coaster with us. Like, seriously, as soon as you bring your nose up to it, you can really smell all of the lovely aromatics of the Saint-Germain and the absinthe in there. And then the orange peel just really adds a lovely kind of, like, zest to it, and I really love it. So, santé, and please drink responsibly. This is the last cocktail, thank God. Yeah, all of the Angostura bitters in there kind of remind me a little bit of a Sazerac cocktail, if I can talk. This is kind of a nice kind of transitional cocktail from summer into fall. So I definitely recommend this for the end of summer going into fall or autumn. Just really a little bit spicy, a little bit floral, very herbal, very lovely. Hey honey, would you mind coming in here and telling everyone what you think of this cocktail?
I guess I can do that.
I accidentally over-poured the absinthe a little bit.
Where's the camera?
Camera's right here.
Okay, I just gotta make sure I don't
I promise you're not going to be in frame.
Yeah, because, I'm in my skivvies. Oh, damn, this smells good. I'm gonna say that right off the bat.
The orange peel makes a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
So, would you mind telling people what you like about it?
Very orange forward. Really good smell. Goes down smooth. I feel like had the ginger ale been a little more carbonated, just because, that's been sitting in the fridge for...
Yes, it's true.
2 weeks. I feel like that would have made it a little more snappy, you know?
Well, also keep in mind that the absinthe will kill any carbonation that it comes into contact with.
I guess that's fair, but maybe it just tastes better, fresher ginger ale, you know? Get that ginger snap.
If there's anything that Kenny loves, it is ginger ale and Saint-Germain together.
I like ginger ale. It's good on the tummy, and I have lots of acid reflux, so it's great for that,
So this is really easy to drink.
Yeah, smooth. Very
spicy.
Fragrant. I don't say spicy, but, it's fragrant. I like it. I drink that. I would drink
good for a beginner, you'd say?
Yeah, if I wasn't going to be driving you to the store here soon, I'd be drinking some of that myself. I'd just be like, give that to me. You've already had 2 drinks. So, but I gotta drive, so you just enjoy.
Thanks, honey. Alright guys, so you heard it from my husband, the person that does not like absinthe. He really likes his cocktail, and I'm kind of sad that I over-poured the absinthe just a little bit to 1/2 ounce instead of 1/4 ounce, but that's totally okay. I'm just gonna roll with it. So guys, this video was a lot of fun. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this Sangermaniac by myself, And then Kenny and I have a little errand to run. So, that being said, thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to check out all of the links related to my friend Mark's show, Bohemia, so that you can go follow and stay updated on everything like that. I would really love it if you could go to the Berlin European premiere of Bohemia, because it's amazing. I really wish I could go, but unfortunately I can't. But that's okay. And thank you so much to my patrons for your support every single month. Your contributions every single month is why I am able to make my first original song happen a little bit later this year. So thank you so much for your support. Cannot thank you enough. And to everyone else, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that bell for notifications. And to everyone, I love you, and I will see you guys later. Bye!